70 million acres of wide open possibilities. Nevada is untouched. A place where the desert comes to life, the ground holds the history, and nature perseveres.
Well, you know, no good saloon is worth its weight in whiskey unless you got a few bullet hole stories.
True.
In Goodsprings, Nevada, I pick up a thing or two on what not to do in the Wild West.
Somewhere down the line, I am related to Calamity Jane.
We're gonna find out.
I point and shoot for fun at the Clark County Shooting Complex.
This particular spot is really sort of a historical prism.
At Kiel Ranch, I unravel centuries of Las Vegas Valley history.
To see them realize that how small they are and how magnificent these mountains are.
And in Lamoille Canyon, I admire one of Nevada's most valuable treasures, the Ruby Mountains.
With one of the most spectacular views.
I'm John Burke. Join me as I explore the 7th largest state in the nation, here on Outdoor Nevada. Nevada's mining history left a number of small towns and tall tales scattered throughout the wilderness. Today, I'm headed to the southern foothills of the Spring Mountains for a taste.
Goodsprings, Nevada. Population 200. There's not a lot happening in this old sleepy town except on the weekends, when people flock in from all over because of one particular bar. It's one of the oldest in the state of Nevada, and the stories coming out of those saloon doors are things of legend. Come on, I'll buy you a drink.
Named for cattle herder Joseph Good, Goodsprings was developed in 1904 by Salt Lake City Mining. The unincorporated community has seen several booms over the years, with gold, silver, platinum, zinc, and more being excavated from this rich land.
Tom, good seeing you, brother.
Good to see you, John. I'm glad you could make it out.
I wouldn't miss it for the world. This place is awesome. I mean, it's striking. It's like going back in time. Give me some history.
Well, this was built in 1913, the Pioneer Saloon. It was built because of the mining, and here in Goodsprings, it really boomed in the teens and the 20s. Matter of fact, people from Vegas used to come here to do their shopping and entertainment. And this was also the road to California until 29. After the miners would have a hard day in the mines, they would come down, wet their whistles.
And so you have taken the place over, but yet you've kept the original charm. You did a little renovation, but it's still the way it was.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually closer to the original now, and anything that we added is more time period sensitive. So we were very sensitive on keeping it as close to 1913 as possible.
Meet Tom Shekels. He and his family purchased and began renovations on this place about a decade ago.
Well, you know, no good saloon is worth its weight in whiskey unless you got a few bullet hole stories.
True, and that's always a friendly reminder what not to do when playing cards. Don't get caught cheating or don't cheat.
Now, you actually do have bullet holes, yeah?
3 of them, matter of fact.
Oh, come on, let's go look.
The building that houses the saloon was ordered from a Sears and Roebuck catalog and transported by rail across country to be assembled here. It outlasted a host of other bars, brothels, and hotels over the years, and its walls contain many stories, in some cases, literally.
All right, Tom, tell me about the dirty, rotten scoundrels that were hanging out in this establishment.
Oh, yeah. This is from a card game in 1915. One of the players was caught cheating. He tried to cash out $10. The dealer ended up shooting him dead. But $10 is a lot of money back then. Up here is a copy of the letter from a coroner to the brother of the man that died, detailing the story for him.
You know what I love about it is that some people have bullet holes in their walls. They might be thinking, I got to get rid of these. You're very proud of them, and you've really maintained the feeling of this place. It even smells like an old-time bar. It really does. Tell me about the floor. Tell me about the bar itself.
Yeah, so the floor is all original, except for the part where the bar stools are. That actually had to be reinforced in the 40s because all the booze that would fall down and the foot traffic, actually somebody fell through the floor at one point. But the bar itself is older than the establishment here. It's a set built by Brunswick.
The bar has a history all of its own. Made in the 1800s in Maine, this classic countertop was shipped here in the days before the Panama Canal.
The big story is that there was a major drama here with a major Hollywood star, two of them. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's a very sad story. In 1942, Carol Lombard, which was Clark Gable's wife, tragically crashed on the mountain behind us here. And the search party gathered here. It took them 3 days by horseback to pull the remains down. So Clark Gable actually sat here at the bar waiting for them to get Carol Lombard's remains. And reportedly, he was sitting there, he was smoking, and he fell asleep because he was waiting for so long, and made burn marks into the bar. And Pretty Lady's been sitting there ever since, rubbing their fingers, making grooves for where he sat.
Carol Lombard starred in 55 films before the fatal crash on Mount Potosi. An early film comedian, she was the highest paid star in the late 30s and an idol to comedy legend Lucille Ball.
By the way, did you say something about ghosts in here?
Well, right behind us here is actually the original table. We call it the Polkowski table because that's the one, the name from the card game that went bad in the room next to us. And so a lot of people, bartenders specifically that work at night, have a lot of interactions with paranormal activity sort of deal. So.
Spirits in the night. In an old saloon, they got spirits. Who knew?
This place isn't all just about ghosts of the past. Patrons can also prep for the future. Here, you can buy your own barrel of moonshine and let it age into whiskey. Have a little taste of the Old West whenever you need it.
All right, Tom, tell me where everything stands today. This is a real popular spot, especially on weekends, huh?
Yeah, for the last 10 years, our family has been developing this outdoor area. So people can come and drink and eat and listen to music. Matter of fact, we have music on Wednesday night, honky-tonk night, and then Friday nights are karaoke. Saturday and Sunday is when it really comes alive. We have 3 different bands both days. We get entertained quite a few people. But what's fun about it is the music starts around noon, so it's an all-day thing. So.
How many people do you have coming through here on the weekend?
On the low end, about 200. On the high end, we can entertain up to about 600 people.
I sense from you that there is a greater sense here than just running a saloon. You feel the need to keep this place alive culturally, yeah?
Well, my father's always instilled in us that we're caretakers of the property, and we firmly believe that.
The Pioneer Saloon remains as a landmark in Nevada, a monument to settlers, miners, and explorers of the West. It's a perfect reminder of our intrepid, battle-born state spirit.
Well, let's go from instilled to distilled because you're my kind of guy. This is my kind of place. I'll see you again on the weekend. Thank you for everything, Tom.
Thank you.
Today I'm at the Clark County Shooting Complex, where their idea of a good time is turning a clay pigeon like this into something like that.
Located at the northern edge of Las Vegas, the Clark County Shooting Complex provides 178 yards of controlled shooting space for anyone who wants to try out a variety of firearms and archery.
Steve, how you doing, my friend?
Hi, John. Welcome to the shooting complex.
Thank you very much. Always wanted to come here, heard a lot about it. Now that I'm here, it's so much bigger and more than I thought. Tell me about it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize how large this is. This property is located on 2,880 acres. It overlooks the Las Vegas Valley. It's a gorgeous site, as you can tell.
Steve Carmichael began his shooting career at age 13, acquiring 26 Grand American Awards along the way. In 1996, he was inducted into the National Trap Shooting Hall of Fame.
Well, how many different stations you got up there?
On the sporting clay course, there's 30 stations. That's what we're going to go up and do today. Rifle and pistol, we've got 60 firing points. We've got 24 trap and skeet stations, 14 archery stations, plus an education center to teach people how to improve their game, and we got ranges there as well.
Well, you're the champion. You've got the beautiful facility. I brought the good weather.
I think we ought to go do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Steve and I drive up to our first shooting station. We get our firearms from the complex collection. The shooting complex's guns are supplied by Beretta, the oldest known gun manufacturer in the world, operating since 1526.
What's the one thing I need to know before we get started?
Well, safety is always paramount. Anytime we handle these guns, when they're in the gun rack here, obviously they can't harm anybody. And when we take them from the rack, first thing we do is open them up, and then we go to one of the designated shooting windows, and we don't load the gun and close it until we're at one of the shooting windows. And so safety is always first in the forefront.
Earplugs come on a short list of safety requirements.
Here you go. Now we're going to give you a target from the left first,
Okay.
and if you hit it, then we're going to go to the one to the right.
Okay.
If you don't hit it, we're going to do the left and over again.
Now, a little something about my family tree. I just want you to know that somewhere down the line, I am related to Calamity Jane.
We're going to find out.
All right, you ready?
You call Paul when you're ready.
Pull!
Look at that. Look at that.
No.
You hit the first one on the first
No,
shot.
I didn't, did I? Look at that laughter.
Look
How
at
did we-
that.
All right,
You
I'm
may
ready.
be related to Calamity Jane.
This station simulates hunting, allowing me 2 shots at each clay before they run back into the hypothetical bush. Targets come from both left and right. It keeps you on your toes.
All right, Steve, here's another one of your stations. What happens here?
This is a whole different target presentation from what you saw a while ago. Here we've got an incoming target coming from the right, so it would simulate like ducks or geese coming into decoys. We'll have you shoot a couple of those, and then we have another target that's a surprise, which is actually one that rolls on the ground, going from left to right, that we affectionately call the rabbit.
I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's do this.
We'll do this incomer first.
All right. Any tips?
Just point at it. That's the best tip I can give you.
You're terrible. You're a horrible coach.
This target here is actually getting closer to you as you shoot, so you can kind of just point right at it. There's no special lead or anything. It's easy to shoot under it because people have a tendency to look at the target over the gun a little bit, so you want to make sure you're high enough on it when you pull the trigger.
All right. Pull.
A little under the first shot, a little behind the second shot.
Is that what happened?
Pretty typical. We see that a lot.
Did you see? I actually went for a third shot.
You did, but it wasn't there. But I think if you try this one more time, you'll be successful.
All right. Pull.
Little behind both of those.
Man.
Just a little behind both of them. Just about 2 inches.
You know I could stay here all day.
I know, this is fun.
The 30 stations and the variety of targets make the Clark County Shooting Complex a safe and fun environment for everyone to practice, including members of their own youth program, the Silver State Clay Breakers.
All right. What else you got out here?
I've got a target for you now you haven't seen yet, called the rabbit. And it's called the rabbit because it's running on the ground. It's not flying through the air. It's going to come out there from left to right, and I'm going to give you a couple of those, see how you do with those.
If I miss it, does oil come up out of the ground?
It won't.
All right. All right, let's see what we got here. Never done this before. Pull.
Behind both shots. Now you
Really?
can see it
That's a
that
fast
time.
rabbit.
They can be fast, they can be slow, and they can be bouncy. We've got all types of rabbits out here, so
I don't need that.
they're a lot of fun though.
I just need a good straight line. That's what I need. All right. Pull.
There you go.
Hey.
You got him. Good shot.
Hey.
All right.
That was awesome.
Fantastic. 50% on a rabbit is extremely good, especially as a new shooter.
The trick is to keep your eyes closed.
No, you got to have them open, John, not closed.
Okay, I might not be a trick shot, but I'm happy with my results. I think I've done all right by old Calamity Jane.
I could be here all day. Part of the joy of this was just coming out here and spending time with you. So I want to thank you for all of this,
Well,
Steve.
thanks so much for coming. It's a pleasure to have you. And we invite everybody in the valley to come out here.
Well, you'll be seeing me again.
We look forward to it.
The one thing I love about this state is its history, because it will talk to you if you know where to look. And that's why I'm so excited today to be at the brand new renovated Kiel Ranch. This is in North Las Vegas. You cannot study Las Vegas history or the state of Nevada without coming here first.
A natural spring sparked the beginning of this region's history. The origins of the Las Vegas Valley circle back to Kiel Ranch.
John,
Yes.
welcome, welcome.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Welcome to Kiel Ranch. Appreciate you coming out.
Well, thank you, my brother, for having me. This is a beautiful place.
Thank you. It's our newest park here in the city of North Las Vegas, and we're proud of it.
You should be. Now take me back to the beginning, the importance of this park. It has a long and rich history, doesn't it?
It's got a very rich history, but it all starts right here because you got to understand water. Water is what started this whole concept. Las Vegas is Spanish for the meadows, and right here we have one of the first artesian wells. That's what started the whole Las Vegas Valley.
Relying on these springs, Southern Paiutes populated the land. Soon after, Mormon missionaries developed the Indian farm that Conrad Kiel would later purchase.
Tell me about the Kiels. Who were they?
They were an artistic family. Conrad Kiel is the gentleman that came out here at the bequest of Octavius Gass, one of the original founders of the town. He called Kiel and says, hey, I need you to come out here and settle this land, create some orchards, and bring some produce and bring some trade out here. And so he came out in 1875 and set up the ranch.
How big was the ranch?
The ranch was around 250 acres.
Conrad Kiel made good use of the land and its resources. He grew hay, fruits, and vegetables, selling his fresh produce and wine to miners in the area.
You know, Cass, as I walk through here and I read the historical markers and I soak it all in, I'm really struck by how this particular spot is really sort of a historical prism for all sorts of stories.
John, that's a great word for it because it's the focal point. The water started it all, but then after that, mankind took it over and they built a little bit of everything. From the original ranch to our adobe house built in the 1880s, which was really just a storage house. It's the second oldest building in the state of Nevada. Yet at the same time, you go from that era all the way to the 1940s, and we're a dude ranch and we're giving out quick divorces.
Next door to the adobe house sits the doll house, an old cottage built for the divorce ranch. The two remain as the only historical structures on the premises. The White House mansion, built near the adobe house in 1912, burned down in 1992. The mansion was built by local banker John S. Park, who owned the ranch at the time. It was the social focal point of young Las Vegas, with tea parties, music recitals, and elegant dinners.
Tell me about the divorce ranch, because that's hysterical.
It is historical. The divorce ranch was really just a sign of the times. Nevada's always had a very liberal approach to marriages and to divorces. But as high society from the LA market kept coming up here to enjoy the ranch, it just naturally evolved, and the owners of the ranch just naturally took advantage of, wait a minute, people are looking for a quick divorce. I've got a great ranch. They put two and two together, and voila.
And restoring this park and that building is no easy task. I mean, it's painstaking for you, is it not?
It's painstaking, but it's a function of love. We want our kids to understand what life was at the turn of the century right here in North Las Vegas.
An outdoor history lesson, Kiel Ranch takes you back centuries. All you need to do is follow the clues.
One of the things I love about this park and what you're doing here is you have these really great historical markers that you can read about. There's pictures, they're well done. But what I want to ask you about, and this one refers to it, is the Stewart family.
In 1881, Octavius Gass defaulted on a loan to Archibald Stewart, resulting in the Stewart family relocating from Pioche to live on the site of the old Mormon fort. The Stewarts did not like neighbor Conrad Kiel and the seedy characters he allowed on his ranch.
It's the Wild Wild West. You got to remember, this was 100 so years ago. So here we are, the turn of the century, around the 1900s. And here, the Kiels were very important here, but just a short way away were the Stewart families. Helen Stewart, the first lady of Las Vegas, and her husband were just around the way.
On June 13, 1884, Helen's husband, Archibald, was shot dead on Kiel's property. Fingers pointed at Conrad and a ranch hand, but they were acquitted due to a lack of witnesses. A decade later, Conrad passed away, leaving the ranch to his two boys, William and Edwin.
Lo and behold, the Stewart brothers come over here and find the Kiel brothers dead. And so then the question begged was, what happened to the Kiel brothers? Was it suicide? Was it murder? Or what? But then the rumors and the innuendos kept rumbling around. 1970 pops up. We've got new forensic technology. We exhume the bodies of the Kiel brothers and find out they were murdered right here on the ranch.
Following the deaths of William and Edwin, Kiel's heirs sold the ranch's 240 acres to William A. Clark and his Utah-Nevada-California Railroad Company. Clark decided not to use the land for the train tracks and sold the acreage to banker John S. Park. Clark did build the railroad, establishing the town of Las Vegas as a maintenance stop. Later, the area was named Clark County in his honor.
Right here is where it all started.
Without this water, we're not telling, you and I aren't even meeting
We're not
today.
here. Yes.
The whole story is not. Now, this is beautiful. I know it is a swimming pool at one point, yes?
It was a gorgeous swimming pool. It was the pool, the western side of the United States. People from LA came up here to enjoy the waters. The waters were about as big as this whole area. It was a natural pool. They didn't have it in Las Vegas. That was just starting over here. So people came out here to enjoy it.
Today, 7 acres guards centuries of history here at Kiel Ranch, a legacy you can relive with a simple walk in the park.
Well, you have opened up my mind as to the history of this place. You would have no idea if this park wasn't here, and so you're doing a great service, Cass. You're my kind of guy. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Welcome anytime. Please come back.
You know, one of the best parts of Elko, Nevada is the people. Another is the landscape. And today, we're getting a healthy slice of both. Cowboy John's gonna take me hiking in Lamoille Canyon.
Where in the world can you find verdant forests, snow-capped mountains, cascading waterfalls, and abundant wildlife all packed into one short hike? You better believe it's Nevada.
Cowboy John, how are you, sir?
Yeah, it's good to meet you. I understand we're going to take a nature trail walk here.
I hope so.
John Collette, also known as Cowboy John, has a lifetime's worth of knowledge of Elko, Lamoille Canyon, and the Ruby Mountains. As a professional guide in the area, he helps people connect with nature and rediscover a sense of fun and adventure.
When I was small, I would be on the sidewalk and these people would ride by with these horses, and I wanted to ride that horse so bad. And no one ever asked me if I'd like to ride their horse. So I would bring my horse in, and I would give all kinds of people, all kinds of kids rides. And then I would be in the parade. And in the parade, they could say, oh, there's Cowboy John. And they were all excited about me because they'd ridden my horse, okay? So that's where the name came from.
Interesting, because today when people want to learn about the area, they come see you, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's kind of developed because I started doing these tours for the Cowboy Poetry Gathering. When the news media came, they wanted films of ranching. So I'd take them out there so they could film these ranches. And then people heard about this and they said, well, will you take us? And then I said yes, and so now it's set up to the point where it books instantly and we have over 55 people on the bus and we have a great time.
If you could describe this experience here today in one word, what would you use?
Quiet paradise.
That's two, but I'll give it to you.
The Ruby Mountains, named for the garnets found here by early explorers, stand over 11,000 feet tall and house many glacier-carved lakes, basins, and valleys. Lamoille Canyon stretches 12 miles on the western reaches of the Rubies.
John, this is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And tell me about this trail, because this isn't too difficult, right?
No, this is nature trail. It's only about a half a mile long. And the main purpose is to bring you down here to just enjoy this amazing view of the Rubies.
And you know, it's interesting when you come out here, your sense of sound is different, what you hear.
Yes. And that's another thing I try to do when I bring people on tour is to appreciate hearing this wind, okay? And when it's not blowing, and the only thing you hear is a fly. I mean, it's silent. And you know, some people, that scares them, but for me, that silence is golden.
What personal satisfaction do you get from taking people out here?
To see them change, to see them realize that how small they are and how magnificent these mountains are.
The air is so fresh. Now, are these beaver dams that I'm seeing?
Yeah, the amazing thing about this dam is that it's fed by a spring. Because of that spring, it just slowly goes in there, so they've been able to just keep this, build on it and build on it. We'll see in a little bit. The bottom of this beaver dam is just amazing.
As we journey onward, I experience the silence, the isolation, and the awe Cowboy John described. Here, a busy day means only 300 other visitors share the canyon with you. Minimal encroachment by man has let wildlife such as these industrious beavers flourish.
So this beaver dam has been here like 50 years. That's why it's so unique.
It's the biggest one I've ever seen. I've never seen a beaver dam like this, ever.
It's the biggest I've ever seen too.
And how many beavers do you think are working on
Oh,
that?
6 to 8 beavers probably in here.
If only I could get these things to work on my house.
Beavers build their dams at night by moving logs into the water and binding them together with mud and weeds. During the day, they stay hidden, safe and warm inside their lodges, snacking on a stockpile of branches and saplings.
You know what's amazing is that Cowboy John just took me on a side hike, about a quarter of a mile, and look what he presents us with. I mean, absolutely beautiful. And this is only one little spot of the canyon, isn't it?
That's correct. And there are lakes, there's like 5 lakes you can hike to right out of here. And so it's just a real opportunity to see nature and just enjoy the quietness of this place.
The tough part of my job, if there is one, is having to describe and explain this experience. Some of this you just have to see for yourself, but I'm glad I had backup today, John. Thank you so much for taking me around.
Thank you.
Taking one last look back at Lamoille Canyon and the Ruby Mountains, I think of the famous words of Robert Frost. I took the road less traveled, and it has made all the difference.
Oh!
Support for Outdoor Nevada comes from Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas and Jaguar Land Rover Reno, inspiring the spirit of adventure with confidence in any terrain or conditions. Information at jlrlv.com or jlrreno.com.